I'm here with one of my friends, Charlie Rocket. He has been one of my heroes for years and years. And actually, he is the person who inspired me to start my YouTube channel, which we just hit 325,000 subscribers yesterday. And I look at my calendar today, looking at interviewing him. And I just want to have an opportunity to say, thank you, Charlie. You inspired me years ago. He was the only person out of everybody I was looking up to that actually put his money and his time where his mouth was. Tell everybody where you first started making a little bit of money and first started venturing into the business world when you were a young kid in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, everybody, listen up. I'll give y'all the quick history rundown without taking up too much time. In summary, Charlie Rocket is always been a dreamer and yet has always failed with this struggle of success and health. I've never ever in my life been able to figure it out. Still to this day, I'm still on the journey. And I'm not one of those motivational people that have life figured out. I'm just on a journey. And for me, it's always been a battle of success and health and this tug of war that it creates. And I've been challenged so much because as a young kid, I was overweight, but I was very insecure and like didn't know how to interact with the world, which was kind of a gift because that's what made me want to start a business so I could have a way to have purpose. So I got really good at business. I got into the music business as a young man, teenager, really in Atlanta. And I ended up being a cameraman for Soulja Boy, and I had a media outlet. And I then started a management company, and I failed a couple times, and then I overcame and succeeded. But like when I built one of the biggest management companies in the hip hop business, I was also 300 pounds. And at the height of my career, managing 2 Chainz and Travis Porter and winning Grammys and world tours and making a ton of money, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And so like here I am at this like crossroads of like what's important in my life because money is very important. Like having purpose is very important as well. And being able to provide for your family is very important. So, but here I am, like sick with a brain tumor, and I'm looking at my life and I'm like, well, if I were to die, will I have said my dream came true? Absolutely not. I made a lot of money. I built a business. But if I were to summarize my life of here was a kid who had a dream, who made a lot of money and then dies, I was like, that can't be my story. Yeah. But yet it's such a blessing that I was able to make a lot of money, invest, save, because I was different than most people in the music business. And Paige, you'll appreciate this. Every time I made any amount of money and I had enough for a down payment, I went and bought a house. I saved every penny. It didn't make any sense to me to have like nice things or like, you know, a Rolls Royce. That didn't make any sense. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I was like, I'm going to buy houses. And that ended up being such a blessing for when I actually made that life decision to leave the music business. I actually had a savings and I had a really good savings. And it paid off because I went to go chase my dream of being an athlete. Being an athlete was my dream as a kid. So I left everything. I handed my shares over to my business partners. I called my artists. I sat down with them and I told them, I'm going to go be an athlete. They're like, Charlie, how are you going to make money? I said, I'm not worried about that. I just need to go experience my dream. And what happened over the next year was miraculous. I don't know if it's something that's unique to me or if all humans have this ability of being able to attract a miracle. But when you do something bold and you jump in and you make a cannonball into your dream and you burn all the boats. The universe has a way of conspiring to make sure that you don't drown. And so I ended up getting a phone call from Nike. Um, all my dreams came true. I wanted to be an athlete. And so I got to be in the biggest Nike commercial of all time. I got to help Nike create it. Um, I got to lose 130 pounds. I got to reverse my brain tumor. I got to ride my bicycle across America. And when I rode my bike across America, I said, you know what? I want to help people everywhere I go. And we had a bus, and it was called the Dream Machine. And so it started an entire movement of 9 million followers now on social media where we help people. But what happened, Pace? What happened to old Charlie Rocket? He built a foundation and he got back into business. And what happened when I put all those little kids with cancer and their needs and growing a business and growing a movement before myself? I was right back in the same spot. I lost my dream. I gained almost 70 pounds back. And honestly, Pace Man, it is so sad to watch a human gain weight. People don't talk about it. People will give you all the praise and cheers when you're losing weight, but when you gain weight, everybody's thinking the same thing. And it's a really, really sad thing to watch. And it's also sad to watch somebody lose their dream for the sake of, in this case, it wasn't my success, it was other people's success by running a foundation and helping people. But I am still on my journey, and I'm proud to say that I'm learning at 36 for the first time in my life how, and I haven't been successful at it, but I'm on my baby steps of how to be successful and be healthy at the same time. So now I'm learning how to replace myself and my foundation a little bit, restructure things, remove things. Key component, remove. Sometimes if you want to add something in, you got to remove it. So I'm trying to add in my health. So I had to remove a bunch of stuff. And I'm down 40 pounds. And I am going back to my dream. I'm training for an Ironman again. This time I'm not running away from my business and my life in order to do it. I'm going to learn how to do it at the same time. And I admire you, Pace, because for some people, y'all got the code cracked. Man, you got family, you got health, you got, I don't know if you have any balance, but you seem to be healthy, a great father, and successful all at the same time. And honestly, I want to aspire to that because I want to be able to have a family and be successful and have my dream. I want all of it. So I'm just on my journey of learning how to do it.
So, Charlie, thanks for catching everybody up to speed. I already have a page of notes. I mean, bro, you are so inspiring. Again, you are the guy that got me into YouTube. And as I look at your YouTube channel now, it doesn't seem that has been your focus for the last year, even though you've had significant success. I mean, as your friend, you know, you and I will text about your coconut water business and how that took off. And
Yep.
then I go over to Sprouts, and you guys are in every Sprouts I go to last year, right? You're everywhere. Meanwhile, your YouTube channel isn't getting any production on it. Is that, was YouTube one of those things you had to remove, or was it just, hey, we don't have time for that because we're accomplishing other things?
I removed almost everything except helping kids with cancer and disabilities. I removed employees. I removed overhead. It's almost like a rebirth. And I'm not afraid to burn boats. I'm not afraid to, like, I don't have an ego of like I need to hold on to something because I have so much faith in what the next chapter will bring. So I never actually like live in the moment. A lot of people do, but the reality is, and I guess it's all in perspective. Things sound good depending on how somebody says it, but sometimes the moment sucks. Actually, most of the time, the moment sucks. Like what we're dealing with, we're all dealing with stuff. Everybody. But I try to live in the future so much that it allows me to just kind of float through whatever's going on. But you see what you're looking at. If you're looking at the problems of today, you'll think there's problems. But if I'm constantly looking at my future and what I believe will happen, it will actually make me kind of blind to the problems. So it's like getting rid of YouTube temporarily. Like all this stuff is everything is temporary. I've lived 5 lives. I'm 36 years old. Um, Getting rid of YouTube, getting rid of employees, getting rid of like the Dream Factory, like overhead, anything dragging down, anything taken away from the dream. If it doesn't help kids and it doesn't help my dream, I'm okay with getting rid of it.
That's so hard. I mean, for those business owners out there that have the opposite belief system, right? This is really good for them to hear. The opposite of the belief system is, well, I built the thing, I have the employees. I build the thing, I have the building. I build the thing, I have all these, overhead and these expenses. I got to just work twice as hard to bring in the money to cover those things. And then you feel obligated, almost maybe imprisoned by it to a certain degree, where now the thing you're serving is the people that are not even the actual mission, which for you, your mission is helping people with cancer and kids and those types of things. And you've done things that I just can't even, personally, I can't even dream to do those things. You just were built different. And I look at that and I'm like, man, business owners, including me, have a really hard time looking at, wow, look at this payroll. In fact, I'll tell you, in December of last year, I'm looking at the people on one of my company's teams and I'm like, man, that's a lot of payroll. That's $1 million in payroll for that individual team. So here's what I did, Charlie. I go, I'm going to go start a new business to cover the payroll for this company that I can't make it make more money, right? Which becomes a prison, right? Yeah. And so those types of conversations are important. I know that, maybe some of the audience members are new and they're aspiring business owners, but man, what a great piece of permission to just give people like, hey, if it's not serving the mission, it doesn't make sense. It's almost like you got Charlie Rockets on one side of the boat rowing, and then you've got 4 things on the left side not rowing, and you're just going in circles over and over and over. And you're thinking, if I just paddle harder, then I'll overcome, their lack of paddling, which is not true. You're just going in circles. And did you have a moment where you felt like overhead, big employee team, all this stuff was just going in circles?
Man, bro, when I say you just nailed it, because when something is doing decent, not great. Great is like alignment, it's flowing, it's exponential. When something's doing decent and it's not exactly working, as an entrepreneur, we're like, okay, well, we need to solve this problem. So we need to start something new to fix this problem. Because the idea of just getting rid of something hurts our ego too much, because it was like we thought we were right. So we're trying to confirm our belief system. And since it's not working, okay, I got a better idea. So now I'm about to double up. And oh my God, let me tell you, there is a concept I'm playing with in my life that I wish there was a book written about it. Bro, free money. Okay? By free money, I don't mean like somebody hands you money. I mean freedom. There is prison, and then there is freedom. I'll give you an example in my life, and this is only for my life. I ask myself, what's the smartest business I could be in that provides me freedom and still allows me to take care of my family? And if you were to ask me, YouTube, I'll be like, that's not free. You have to feed the beast every second of every day. It's not freedom. You can't take a month off. Like, that's not freedom, right? Real estate is more like freedom money, because you might have to work temporarily, but you could pull out and it runs, and you can replace yourself because it doesn't require there's enough systems and
Yeah, which
blueprints.
is like you look at YouTube, good example. If I tried to have somebody else make YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, it ain't happening. I cannot replace myself. It is a prison cell that I have to sit in. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense and the thing crumbles. And if I'll also, what's interesting, Charlie, you're bringing this up. There's 1,000 examples. I want to keep you on your train of thought, but I just want to hammer home for the audience members. In December last year, I did interviews with like some of the biggest people on the planet: Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Cody Sanchez, all sorts of people, Jim Quick. And I recorded them and I put them on my real estate YouTube channel thinking I'm going to take December off and I'm hoping that these interviews can give me some reprieve, even though it's not necessarily the topic that my audience wants on that particular channel. Right? Yeah. I have a different channel that's like celebrity interviews and stuff like that. Dude, I might as well have just taken the whole month off. People can sense that I personally wasn't involved. I wasn't catering and talking about the topics that are happening today. Then I come back. I do one video about the fires in California. And because it was the hot topic of the moment, all of a sudden that video crushed it and did incredibly well.
Absolutely.
And so I literally, Charlie, make that video and I go, I'm in a prison. I'm in a prison that if I don't feed this YouTube channel personally, that's not free money. Yep. That's a really good point. So what other businesses for you are free money?
So in this conversation, we have to be delicate, because if somebody's listening to this who is having a hard time paying the bills, I don't want experience and privilege to I don't want y'all to think that me and Pace, where we're at in life right now, it is okay to grind and be in prison for a period. It is 100% fine. If you're a 18-year-old kid or a 40-year-old, single mother, and you would rather be in prison than not be able to pay the bills, that is fine. So I don't want to ignore that at all, because we've all had to do that.
That was a requirement for me. It wasn't even okay. It was a requirement for me personally to go through that journey of 10 years of, the reality is, Charlie, you see things today that you wouldn't be able to see, whether it's opportunities or how to build a relationship or a pathway to take. You have a different lens that you've built through your experience of grinding and being in those moments and being in that prison temporarily. So I would argue, even on top of what you're saying, is you have to. There's a season in life that you have to go through that. But what's great about this interview, for me personally, again, selfish, because I there's so many things that you inspire me to do and things that you give me permission to do or not do. But you guys got to remember that this is Charlie's chapter 17. You might be in chapter 1 of your own book. Yep. And this helps you understand that once you get into certain levels, because you grinded it, because you went through those hard things, you can pick and choose now where you double down your time, which is what it sounds like you're currently doing right now, Charlie.
Exactly. And I do want to reiterate to the first timers right now that you're in the right place, because real estate is one of those businesses that will provide freedom. Look at what it did for me in the music industry. I just went and bought real estate. I didn't have strategy like how Pace and SubTo does. I was just buying houses and renting them out. And with that lack of strategy, it provided me a life of freedom. So y'all are in the right place, 1,000%. And I highly recommend it. But have this conversation with yourself or with your mentors to ask yourself, what does freedom money look like? Because where you grow your grass is, like where you water the grass is where it's going to grow. Long story short. So at least grow the right grass. For example, like there might be 2 kids, right? They want to be professional athletes. They're going to spend about 8 hours a day for the next 15 years of their life to get to the top of their careers. One wants to be a volleyball player and one wants to be a baseball player. They're going to spend the same amount of time. One is going to make $100,000 a year. The other one's going to make 40 million a year, and they spent the same amount of time. So what I'm saying is, freedom money, pick the real estate, pick a business that's not going to trap you, and make sure there's a way out. Make sure you have a way to become free, because that's where I'm at right now. I want my health. Health is ultimately so many of our dreams, and we don't realize it until we get bogged down by either business or family. We put everybody before us, and then we're sick, and then we realize, like, how do I even have time to go be healthy? So what I did this past year, to summarize all this up, I burned some boats. I said, I'm going all in on my health again. I have to solve some issues to make sure the impact grows, not just stays the same. So I solved that in my business, and I'm right there right now. I'm down 40 pounds. I'm training for an Ironman. I'm going to ride my bicycle across America again. I'm going to do the biggest redo. I'm calling it the greatest comeback of all time. I let myself go. I'm coming back, and I'm coming back as me and my dream. And this time, I told myself, and you deserve this as well. I said, I deserve nothing less than everything I deserve. I need it all. I do not need any asterisks ever again. I do not need that I'm successful, but my health is, I don't need that I'm healthy, but my business is not successful. Now is the chapter for us to actually design. We need to have it all. So sometimes that means not starting that second part of the business and saying, okay, let's scrap it and let me replace that with my health, because that is health.
Are you looking at, like, how's the coconut water business going?
Coconut water is great. I mean, it's been a freaking dream. I'm very blessed that I'm not on the full operational side, so it doesn't bog me down. You know, like it's
I look at that business, and when you started that and you partnered with that gentleman, and you guys took it to the moon. Yep. And I'm watching you go around and watching your clips on Instagram about having people do taste tests, and people are saying, I hate coconut water. I'd never drink it. Even me. Yeah. I'm like, I've never drank coconut water. I've never liked it. You guys created coconut water that actually tastes good. Yep. That is phenomenal and healthy. Then you go and land yourself in freaking Sprouts. Yeah. And as I'm watching you do that, I'm like, Charlie's building a business right now that does not require him after a certain point, because it would build enough momentum. There'd be a turning point where Charlie on the front end promoting it, utilizing your brand and your goodwill in the marketplace that you've built up for years and years and years, that social equity that you have, getting this drink into certain stores, and then you could take your ownership, take your partnership, and go, hey, I did my part. I now would like to collect some free money. Is there another level of a push that you're going to do for coconut water?
Always a push. So for somebody like me, who's a front man, who's a creative, it comes in seasons. So you look at it kind of like a boxer and his boxing matches. If he were to box every month, he's going to get worn out. But it's a big push going into a boxing match. I mean, it's exhausting. Like, after the boxing match, you have to recharge, sit down, and then come up with the next big match. So, like, as a marketer, I come from the music business. So all my marketing is very similar to the music business. And what does an artist do? Artist has big push for the album, big tour, and then you got to sit down and then recharge and go do that again. That's not the most effective way to run a business. A business still has to have its systems that grow without the reliance of one individual and their creativity. So there's a dance and there's a balance there. But what I specialize in as a marketer is those massive pushes, those massive creative, I call them blitzkriegs, lightning war. is what blitzkrieg means. And there's seasons for that, but it's not sustainable to do that every day.
Number one question I get every day is, how do I get everything done? I have 9 companies, 600 employees. We have customers all over the globe. We're doing fix and flips. We're doing buy and holds, apartments, RV parks, all of those things. Everybody wonders, how did I scale? How did I get to a higher level? And the answer is that: go high level. I use a CRM that allows all of my customers to come into one database. And instead of me hiring more employees to go and do all the follow-up, Go High Level has systems and automations that does all of that for me. So not only can I have my employees focus on higher end tasks, money-making tasks, Go High Level avoids all of the extra payroll. When you're brand new, having Go High Level is like having 5 different employees doing all the work for you just for a monthly fee. Go to gohighlevel.com/pace to learn how I'm using it, not only in my lending business, but my wholesale business, my fix and flip business. Literally, Go High Level controls the entire back end of all 9 of my companies. Go to gohighlevel.com/pace to learn more. I think one of the smartest things you did in that business as well is partnering with somebody who has the polar opposite skill set than you, right? Maybe, exactly. I mean, I know you know how to do operations, but I'm just saying, from something that maybe gives you passion, gives you energy, promoting, marketing, being in front of people is probably one of those things, but being in the day-to-day of how many cases are we selling today, and how many, what the color of the such and such is, and who's fulfilling the work order, and what's happening in the warehouse, and those types of things is probably something that doesn't give you energy. So it sounds like partnering with somebody that had that polar opposite effect, or that polar opposite skill set, was a key component for you, correct?
Absolutely, 100%. And I have the most amazing partners that are like so much better at business than I am. I'm good at business, but man, my happy place is starting things. That's why I was so good with music, because every new album is like a campaign that you're starting. Every new artist is a campaign that you're starting. So with like Once Upon a Coconut, I know how to like create the buzz for a campaign and start that campaign, and then go back to the drawing board, create a new campaign. But the daily operations, I'm not the best at that. And I'm smart enough to know that. I was talking to a gentleman the other day who was breaking down to me Magic Johnson's genius of investing in businesses and real estate, because he has his accountant who is his right hand polar opposite. And he's the one who's the operations guy, while Magic Johnson is out there able to use his leverage, bring in deals, find opportunities, but he has that guy. So I'm very lucky to have that in Once Upon a Coconut.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing watching that company. When, a couple of years ago, before you guys had that, I'm looking at you going, man, what an amazing business, right? Your foundation and helping all these kids. How can Charlie leverage this brand he's built? Really, at the end of the day, your brand is goodwill. Like, you have done such an incredible job building trust with people in this country, or people around the world for that matter, that really anything that you launched and you got behind and you believed in was going to win. And so I looked at this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, as a fan of yours. I'm like, I can't wait to see what Charlie does with this goodwill that he's built up. Like, this is no joke type of goodwill. So are there other companies you're thinking about launching at some point? Anything you're passionate about? Is Once Upon a Coconut something that's just your main focus to expand it, more stores, more flavors, more this? What does the future look like in all of that regard?
Yeah, 100% Once Upon a Coconut. It's got so much potential. It is, we're in Whole Foods. We just got into Targets. We're in some Walmarts. We just got into 1,000 CVS's.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we went from no national retailers a year ago to having like 5 or 6 of the biggest. But getting in stores that's not the victory. We have a lot of work to do. So it's no time for other businesses. I'm not adding to the portfolio right now, because my health is a top priority, and I'm not going to I'm not going to waver on that ever again. Because what is the greatest thing I could do for any of my businesses? Be alive, be healthy, be vibrant, be confident. When a man loses his confidence, he's good for nothing. I'm talking about nothing. And then people also treat you extremely different when they watch you gain weight or be unhealthy. People are like, oh, he's not in control. People as the kind of vain as it sounds, people treat you a lot different when you're attractive and fit. And like Pace, if you were to gain 70 pounds, oh man, it would be crazy how like people just treat you so different. So health is a big part of business in my life right now.
Yeah, and I love that answer, actually. I mean, as the business owner I am, I mean, this is inspiring for me too. I mean, I wrote down multiple things, but one of the biggest things I wrote down is that you're removing things and you're
Yeah.
making space for other things. And you just said no. Basically, what I did is I asked a dreamer, you, I asked a creator, you, I asked somebody who builds things and is a bit as an entrepreneur, and also somebody who gets obsessed with visions that they have. Hey, what's next for you? And your answer was no more new businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That was your answer. That, bro, it sounds like your concrete foundation, like you're starting to build, is taking hold of even the way you choose to use your words, and you're saying no to things, and you're freeing yourself of the future obligations of all of those other things. Why are you in Florida? Like, tell me what's going on there. Why go to Florida to get help and tapped into somebody else's facility? Like, what happens there?
So I'm at a place called Pritikin, and it's a longevity center, basically where old people who are like about to die, where they go to learn about health and food and like what type of food heals. So when I first got diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2017, and I was 300 pounds, I actually came here to learn. And I came here for 2 months, and it was the greatest investment I've ever made in my life. It was expensive, but I was investing in learning and being healthy and saving my life. And I then went on to lose 130 pounds, and I just think this place is amazing. I'll see somebody here, young people, old people, who have blood pressure and they're on blood pressure medication and their blood pressure's through the roof, or they have pre-diabetes. And in 2 weeks, they're off all their medication just from food. And it's not woo woo. This is medically based. They have doctors here. They take your blood every week and they show you your results and they feed you. And it's no oils and no salts and like they'll like they just got this thing. This guy who started this, his name was Nathan Pritikin. He's long gone now. He passed away. He started this a long, long time ago. But it's just saved my life. And I wanted to come back here and put myself in an environment of my rebirth. So like sometimes your environment has all these like patterns and habits and rituals that keep you kind of stuck. And that's just an environmental thing. That's just what happens. But for me, I guess I am just I'm just crazy enough to go drop myself in a new environment and be like, this is just what I have to do. Like I'm gonna go put myself here, form new habits, and then bring that back and change my old environment. So that's what I'm doing. I'm here for another 2 weeks, and then I'm back to California. Got very lucky that my home did not burn down. The fire came within 100 yards of my home. Firefighters came in, swooped in with the helicopters. They made it happen. So very lucky I have a home to go home to. But I haven't been home in 8 months. I've been all over the world helping kids.
So
So
what's next
it's
for the
been a journey.
foundation? Like, I know the foundation is still a primary focus as well. How are you doing with the foundation? Like, who are you running that, or do you have some key people that are helping you run that?
So that was the biggest thing. So the foundation was so reliant upon me. Um, but the beautiful thing is, I knew I could build a way for it to scale without me and have just as much, probably more impact. So I have the most amazing director of our foundation. She's been with the foundation for years and she knows it inside and out. She actually runs it better than I ever could. So now what we're going to do is we're not going to have all the dreams rely upon Charlie and his presence. We are going to scale the foundation and be able to do 10 times the amount of dreams because I'm not the only influencer in the world.
Oh,
I am
I
not.
love this. I love this
So,
because every dream you guys did, you had to personally touch and tell the story of, et cetera,
yep.
right?
Exactly. So we have our blueprints, we have our strategies, we have formed a way to successfully make a dream happen for a kid that solves the family's problems, that solves the kids' problems, and creates the foundational movement of social media that allows everybody to participate in it. So it's like we've done it, we've perfected it. So now let's say there's a little girl. Um, her dream is to be a Disney princess, and she wants to go to Disney World. I don't have to do it. I am now even letting go of my ego of being the only person on camera because what I realized is the audience, they don't care about Charlie. They care about the little girl's dream coming true, whether I'm there or not. So I'm very blessed that we're able to scale this thing. So we're going to be able to do 10 times the amount of dreams. We're building out the Dream Makers program. I'll still do dreams, of course, but it's now time to 10x our impact. And it actually allows influencers and business owners um, uh, a way to be involved more because some people like donating and they're just like, y'all go change some lives. But then others are like, I want to make a dream come true. So now we have a program for them to be able to make a dream come true.
That exists now.
Yeah, well, it's starting in February. Yeah, we've been building it out. It's been a big, big process to build it out, but it's all built.
Yeah, we've donated multiple times. We love your foundation. How can I help something with somebody? Is it
So we'll fund
somebody
a
that's in
dream.
real estate help out? Is there any way that somebody of my level could help somebody or get involved in something?
Absolutely. So it's always going to start with where you're at in the world. If you're in Phoenix and we find a dream in Phoenix, you
Hmm.
know, most of the times it's going to deal with kids. Like 80, 90% of the time, like our dreams are kids, but there is the occasional one that is not a kid. But I could always present it to you and be like, listen, like this kid has a dream. Can you pull it off? Like I'll use my connections, you use yours, we pull it off and then make the dream happen.
That's amazing. Who's filming at that level? Obviously, if you guys are picking influencers, so they should have their own video crew, they should have their own editors, et cetera. Then they give you guys the content that has been
Yep.
happening, and you guys spread it around.
Yep. And we have our editors, we have our formats, we have our basically our blueprints on exactly how we film each thing. But honestly, like in the new chapter, it's not even going to be a requirement to film. I do want to step away from it having to be filmed every time. And I think that's going to be a big part in the scale is to fulfill the dream, take a picture, maybe film a little video, but it doesn't always have to be viral. It doesn't have to be a production in order to make a dream come true.
Well, from a marketing perspective, right? I'm a front man, you're a front man as well. And from a marketing perspective, I look at, let's say, your YouTube channel. And I'm like, what an amazing tool that would be to amplify donations and amplify other things. The fact that you figured out how to do this without being on social media all the time is honestly mind boggling to me, right? Like if I
Hmm.
have a software, or I have a title company, or I have something I own that I need to promote, those are the tools that I leverage. And so now you're telling me, honestly, I'm blown away by this. hey, Pace, we're going to figure out how to do this without filming it. That is surprising to me because don't you rely on donations? Don't you rely on people being aware of these dreams? Do you care to talk about that and like illustrate that a little bit?
So what
How would you accomplish this without talking about it?
so anytime that we've used the internet to fundraise, it's only for the individual dreamer. Only. We use the internet for direct campaigns. So we don't use the internet to fund the foundation. Um, what I have found the most effective way to fundraise for the foundation is from my speaking engagements. When I'm at a speech, and then at the end of my speech, we fundraise with the crowd or the VIP dinner. So my goal for this year is to find 15 to 20, VIP dinners or conferences and things like that, because that's the most effective way, the one to many model. And anytime we do a fundraiser on the internet, that's never for the foundation. That's going to be, here's a kid who has this problem. For example, I don't know if you remember the blind drummer,
Yeah.
little 10-year-old kid that we introduced to Travis Barker. His house burned down in Altadena. Yeah, his house burned down in Altadena, lost everything. And so we launched a fundraiser for him. Our fundraiser was able to raise a whole bunch of money, but it inspired another person to launch a fundraiser as well. And we've like total that's been raised for the family is like $300,000.
Wow.
So it's like those are direct funds. I don't like using the internet to fundraise for us as a foundation. I like using the internet to fundraise directly for the kid. So on the fundraising side, it doesn't rely on YouTube or Instagram for us. So speaking engagements, VIP dinners, which is something I love. To me, that's freedom money. So like when I get paid for a speech, I get to travel, I get to help fundraise for the foundation. That's just checks all the boxes for me. So that's the type of business that I really enjoy.
That's honestly, Charlie, that's a great answer. I didn't think that that's where you're going to go with it. I mean, we've got an event coming up in 2 months, 3,500 people, 700 people in a VIP dinner. We've got, Jordan Peterson, David Goggins, all these people for a 3-day event. I'm like, why don't I have Charlie come out and speak? And why don't I get Charlie in front of that audience? Same thing with all of my friends that are running 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 person events. Like that's an easy lift for me to be able to tap you into those people.
That'd be great.
Dude, thank you for that. That's honestly helpful. I feel like you're so dialed in on your vision. I feel like removing things has allowed for more space for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a psychological thing you've had to go through to give yourself permission to do that? Is there anything that was like a rock bottom? Was it something somebody said to you? What the heck gave you permission?
So everybody who follows me knows I struggle with my weight. And I'm the type to never give up. So people actually kind of laugh at me. They're like, oh, he's always on day one. And I am, because like I'll start and then like business will come in and like block me. Bam. Because this thing came up and it took me away from my absolute focus. And then I'll start, and then again, business will just come in. Bam, I got to solve this issue, or I got to go do this, or I got to go on this tour, and so after a while, I kept seeing me shoot and then get blocked. And then I'm just like, okay, if business is blocking me so much, I gotta change, because I'm tired of the insanity. I'm going to achieve my dream. I just need it to be less insane. Like, how many times am I going to have to start over before I get momentum and get that compound effect? So it was July. I told myself I got 6 months to redesign my whole business, and I'm going to burn the boats, and I'm never going back to being trapped in the spider web again, because you get trapped in the spider web as a little bug, and then you see the spiders getting closer, and getting closer, and you know it's going to eat you. And it's just, I got to get out of this spider web. And so I redesigned everything, and it actually became all the answers I needed, because scaling the foundation and replacing me, we're going to make more impact. And me being healthy and inspirational again will increase the speaking engagements, which will increase the fundraising for the nonprofit. And then, just everything is coming together. So it's like getting rid of stuff, having a rebirth, getting untrapped, becoming as free as possible, provided all the answers.
Charlie, thank you. I mean, as a friend of yours, this was a selfish interview for me because I watch you not only as a fan, but as a friend of yours. And I follow you in a lot of ways. Like I'll your tours you did, I went and did a big tour. The way you inspire people, I'll implement that into some of the things I do. And also just watching some of the struggles you go with. Sadly, your struggles that you have are visible, right? People can see your struggles on the outside. But there's people out there that are listening to this, me included, that have struggles on the inside, or maybe in certain parts of my business where I make excuses for letting myself be in this prison or whatever it is. And people don't see that on the outside. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like you've been given this challenge, the outside visible challenge, to inspire the people that don't have that same challenge. They have it on the inside. They don't have it on the outside. And I'm grateful that you're going through the outside challenges so that my inside challenges, I have permission to go and attack them, remove things, get out of the spider web, do it, all of those things. This interview was actually very helpful for me. And I hope it was helpful for other people as well. Charlie, if people want to hire you to come and speak at your event, right? You've got an inspirational story. You've got every imaginable, like, tear-jerking story about kids that you guys have helped and what your foundation has done. If people want to get involved with that and fundraise for you by having you come out to their VIP event or speak on their stage, how do they contact you? Who do they talk to on your team?
Email NIAMH. It's an Irish name. It's pronounced Neve, but her name is NIAMH at dreammachineusa.org. She's my manager, and she'll get everything set up. I'm allowing myself to do about 20 this year. I'm not going to do any more than 20. But I'm very excited, and I appreciate you interviewing me on these topics, because as much as my personal story and history is very inspirational and makes a lot of change in people's lives, I just have a feeling there's a lot of people feeling trapped or stuck, and they might have needed this. So I appreciate you giving me a different type of interview.
Thank you, brother. And I appreciate you being open, honest, transparent, talking about, I mean, here you are sitting in a treatment facility that you've invested in yourself, and you're doing an interview with me on a Sunday morning of all times. So thank you so much. And guys, reach out to Neve at dreammachineusa.org. That is NIAMH at dreammachineusa.org. I'm going to have Brittany on my team, who you guys have been communicating with. I'm going to have Brittany reach out to you guys and invite you out to our big event that's coming up in a couple of months. And hopefully we can have you on our main stage and get you to the VIP dinner so we can help you raise some funds for your guys' foundation.
That'd be awesome.
One of the most common questions I get is, what title company do I use? What title company am I using in Arizona, Atlanta, California, Texas, whatever? The answer for many years was a different title company in every state, because not every state handles transactions the same way. Now, the answer is one title company. It's Creative Title and Escrow. Go to getcreativetitle.com/podcast. You can learn how they will do SubTo deals, seller finance deals, cash transactions, gator deals, double close, transactional lending, whatever, even novation agreements. There's really nothing that Creative Title and Escrow can't do. To learn how brand new investors are using Creative Title all the way up to the biggest players in the industry, head over to getcreativetitle.com/podcast.